Hey, welcome to In the Chute. I'm Brandon,
I'm Lisa.
and he is Kalen.
He's ours.
Yeah, actually, I think
He's adorable.
Is he that direction, or is he?
That direction.
You decide. You look and tell us. Kalen, what do you got?
It's springtime, the end of March, and this is oftentimes the end. Well, we're starting into branding, or not branding, but calving, and we're looking on the horizon of better weather. And oftentimes, mom will start hitting the internet looking for trees and shrubs to plant. Mom,
Too late.
Oh, here, let me tell you what I have coming.
She's already done it. We've been
rationalization.
into March, and we've been calving for a couple of weeks already. And I think she did this back in
This was in November.
November.
Oh
and
my goodness.
Actually,
so November of 2020.
I just
or
saw
sorry,
the
November of
website.
2022. 2020 would be accurate as well. But
Well, yeah.
November of 2022, and we're looking 6 months, 5 months later at starting to get stuff bought so that then we can plant them in a couple months. So, Mom, what's your rationality or logic or ideas behind why you're planting, where they're going, what's being planted? Just share with the class.
Well, I always order in November when I order because we have a state seedling nursery. And so if you have acreage, I think 5 acres might be the minimum.
Oh, really?
You can 3 might be, but I thought it was 5. You can order bulk numbers of trees. Of course, they're not very big, most of them, but you can get larger seedlings, and they're inexpensive. So in the past, do you want me to talk about in the past or what we're doing now?
Let's do a brief in the past and then let's talk about
So
the future.
briefly in the past, so over the course of probably 4 years, 5 years,
Longer.
10.
Yeah.
I
10.
have ordered
Hundreds.
500 plus maybe. Trees and shrubs. We've got cottonwoods, we've got blue spruce, we've got currant, lilac, hackberry, buffaloberry, silverberry, and a few.
You would think it'd be a veritable
ash.
jungle here.
You would, but
well, and it doesn't help that my brother has a rangeland management degree, so I'm sure he's only enabling this behavior. But please continue, Mom.
So anyway, the majority of those were put in, and sometimes it was after we'd branded all day. We planted a couple rows of shrubs and trees because I had them. But and some good friends of ours also helped one time, which was really nice because we had like 250 to plant.
Dude, God, yeah.
So anyway, those were all primarily put as a western windbreak, living windbreak snow fence, and they're in about 6 or 8 rows, and they're basically rebuilding what was there and started 80 years ago. There's a few plants still there from that time zone, but obviously they're getting pretty ragged and tough looking. I've also put some, well, not me, all of us, put some shrubs and trees down in what we call the slough. It's the drainage area below our watering tanks.
From the spring.
Yeah, from the spring. And unfortunately, we had to put some cows and horses in there a few times, so they have eaten down, and a lot of them didn't quite make it. So we do have 2 or 3 ash trees down there growing really well. Probably the primary reason for the things we chose was because they're good for dry climates. We have very sandy soil and good bird habitat. We've seen huge bird numbers over the last 10 years.
We got yellow-headed blackbird, red-winged blackbird. We've got plenty of meadowlarks, my favorite. We've got a bunch of other stuff too. We've seen finches, goldfinches. We've seen, I think I've seen some bluebirds on occasion. But yeah, we got a pretty good diversity of blackbirds, because some of those blackbirds are in Montana, but they're rarer. Like yellow-headed blackbirds are harder because we're in the more northern country for them. But
Well, and we have open water and we have
Yeah.
shrubbery and we have some trees nearby.
We even found an eared grebe.
Yeah,
spring.
he
Oh,
saw
yeah.
that this spring.
Those are a lake bird. It's like, what the heck happened to you?
He diverted
How
from
did you-
Deadman's. Or
Yeah, it wasn't a
something.
good
I don't
idea
know.
for him to be here. I told him to
Head
take a
out.
hike,
Yeah.
go
Take
find
a
some
hike.
water.
And then weren't there some sharp tail that?
We got sharptail, we got Hungarian partridge, an
Yeah.
occasional pheasant.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
So some of those shrubs are a little thorny, so they're really good for some of those upland game birds.
sandhill crane. We have
We-
actually have, which
Yeah,
passing through.
they're in the pasture once in a while. And then some of the trees and shrubs that go down by the slough are for erosion control and shade, hopefully someday. Braden helped us transplant some quicken aspen along the line where the spring comes down the hill, and they didn't make it because the horses could get to them. They fenced them, but it wasn't a big enough area, so
yeah.
we're going to probably try and establish a couple trees down there with a 6 or 8 foot radius fence. See if we can't get some shade, because we got no shade here. It's rolling hills and grassland. And the lilacs and aspen and green ash that are coming this spring, we're thinking we want to make those shade and windbreak material along the west of the arena corral that we have, as well as next to the mare pasture that separates where we put mares, and also a little bigger pasture where we put mares and some cows just to the east of it. And then I saw on the website just yesterday or day before, they still have a few things.
This is new to me.
So I might get on the website again and I might add a few more
Hundreds of
shrubs.
what? How many hundred?
Because I've got 48 trees coming and 24 lilac. And I might just try to get some more, I don't know, silverberry, something like that.
See, and me
Shrubs.
thinking from a financial perspective, you talk about hundreds of trees. What's oftentimes the bill for like one or two of these things? Is it like a couple bucks because it's a sapling, or
Yeah, so like I've got the order form right here. For 73 plants, 72 plants, it's going to be $219 with shipping. And that's
with
at
shipping? That's not too bad.
that's at $2. It's $1.89 and $2.89 a piece.
So it's pretty affordable if anybody's
very.
looking to do it.
You do have a high degree of loss.
But you know
You know,
what? When you look at our tree line, we really haven't lost a lot. And we have a drip line on those, so that's helped insure it. But if you can get a good start to them, they should be okay. What are you doing?
Nothing.
He's not doing anything. I'm just thinking of all the stories with the drip line and the
Getting
the
cut,
Mother
getting
has
repaired.
frustration.
Mother has anger issues when
Anger.
I'm putting up drip lines.
Probably
sure it was you.
one of like 2 times I've ever seen my parents actually yell at each other was over the stupid drip line.
So
Did we
what
yell at each
happened?
other? I don't recall
Oh.
this.
Like I
What
said, it
was
was
it?
like 1 of 2 times. Yeah.
I'm sure you
wasn't-
did it wrong.
Mom was not uncoiling it correctly, and Dad got
Oh.
very upset.
Because she was gonna kink it. That's right. I remember now.
And it was expensive. And understandably, I know why he
So-
got upset.
Did I set it down forcefully and leave?
No, you did. Sure did.
We've been together over 30 years, and if that's only, I just don't ever recall yelling at you. I get frustrated.
he
with
yells
you
at me all the
daily. Yeah,
time.
that's it.
But
Oh,
I know it's always it's a endeavor every time the trees and the shrubs come out, and
It is.
it's almost
So-
as bad as painting for me. I don't like it. I hate it. And
I think what we
Oof.
might do this time is we might get the auger out and just zip, zip, zip for a hole for each
it's
of
not
them.
quite that fast, but yeah, okay.
And then get some manure, some old manure, and throw in there, and see if I can keep them going, because where they're going, there's not super available water. We might be able to get a drip line to one set. I don't know. We'll see. But I honestly kind of figure that with these, I'll probably get a water tank and go water them about every other day. as needed with rain because it's
When there's
tough
not
to
any
get,
rain, that's every other day, Mom.
yeah, but it's tough to get things growing in this soil because it's so sandy, all the water
Yeah.
drains out and a lot of wind. People don't realize the impact wind has on plant growth.
Hmm.
I did an experiment at our old house on accident.
Yep. No, I remember it.
Remember those 2 Austrian pine we bought?
There was one right outside my window that happened to be kind of blocked off a little bit because the garage poked out
Yep.
just enough. And then the other one was out behind the house, but it was still able to get hit by the westerly winds. And that difference right there, the one being kind of in the corner protected by the house and the side of the garage, and then the one out by its lonesome, significant. There's almost by the time we left, there was about a 3 times the size difference. What was the size of the one out back? It was 3 times that size of the other one that was hidden behind the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just from wind.
And that's
Nothing
just
else.
from wind because everything else was the same.
Yep.
And so, when I look at ours and I think, geez, I wish they'd grow a little bigger. And then I look at them and I go, you know what? They're doing pretty darn good considering all the wind we get.
Yeah.
And our blue spruce are a slow grower and they're towards the outside of the windbreak. We've got some that are 3.5 foot tall out
And they
there.
were only about a foot tall when we started.
Oh, were they that tall even?
Maybe at the most.
And so they've done very well being slow growing. But again, we have that drip line on there and it's a pain in the butt. But I think that's why we're getting the results we're getting.
Yeah. Well,
but it's fun because then we get trees and shade.
And
that
windbreak.
is one nice thing that it's not going to be your problem in 20 years. I'm going to get to inherit it. So I do thank you for making up for all the other things with the trees because then I don't.
Oh, good.
We're spending a pile of
Thanks.
money on a lot of things that you guys will never have to spend money on.
All right. With that, we'll put the conversation of planting trees and shrubs out to pasture.